All right, you guys. So we're here, Monday Night Live, the middle of April. We're almost at the end of the month, which is wild. But I have a very special treat for you guys tonight. Some buddies of mine, I was trying to remember which event we met at, and I, in fact, cannot remember still. But all of them, yes. Whatever, wherever we are, we always seem to find each other, and so that's always a fun meetup. But you guys, this is Luther and Joya. I don't even know who their nearest diamond upline is.
It's
Uh,
Rob.
is it Robin? Okay, I figured it was Robin. Just because I knew she was somewhere up there. But we have had the pleasure of just hanging out every time I run into Luther. Every time, no matter where we are, he's like, "Hey, I got a quick question." He always comes with a quick question, and that I've always just been impressed by that because it just shows me an eagerness to learn, always. And then something else that always has stood out for me with you two is both of you are so keenly aware of your strength and your partner's strength. So if I say something like we were talking last week and Luther said, "Oh no, no, that's not me. That's Julia all the way." And so they're just they're very high in self-awareness, which I think is why you're going to hear what you hear from them tonight as far as grit, grace, gratitude. So anyways, I'm going to pretty much turn it over to you guys. If you need or want to talk through anything, let me know. But I saw their outline for the call tonight, and you guys are in for a very special treat.
Awesome. So first of all, let us just start by saying what a blessing and an honor and a privilege it is to be on this call with you guys. To be honest, like Brittany and Christina, like are our people. Like we love them so much. We look up to them every time they train. We're like, yes, that write that down, right?
Mhm.
And so honestly, I'm gonna be completely y'all gonna get complete transparency here tonight, okay? Because that's the only way we know how to be. When Christine was like, "Hey, do y'all want to come do our team call?" Joey and I were like, yeah. I mean, we'd love to." And then immediately after the excitement settled down, we are like, "What the heck are we gonna say to their team?" Like, I mean, we're talking about Brittany and Christina here.
My
There's nothing that we can say.
my stomach still hurts.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's like,
what are we doing here?
yeah, there's nothing that we can say that y'all haven't already got. But like tonight isn't about tips. So tonight is going to be all about the heart posture and the attitude and the mindset and the drive that you must have in order to stay in this business, in order to win in this business. So tonight we're going to talk about grit, we're going to talk about growth, and we're going to talk about the things that it takes when you're in the valley to really come through the other side and feel like you've triumphed, right? So put a one in the chat tonight if you are ready to like get after it, or if you've had that season in your business where you're like, oh my gosh, like I just this feels like such a grind, right? We're gonna get real with y'all tonight. So
This group is so fun. Look at all the
I
ones.
know, look at all those ones. All right.
Anytime I've been on like a call, the diamonds are like, put a one in the chat. And Luther said, put a one in the chat. And y'all are putting ones in the chat. That's so sweet.
Anyway, so the first thing, like I said, we're gonna talk about tonight is grit. We're coming out of a like pretty interesting time in our business
Mm-hmm.
where like things feel like you're in the valley, but like you learn so much about yourself in those times. So Joy, you take it away.
Okay. Um, like I said, I was so excited to be here, but also nervous because I had a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like our business has been, kind of, I guess I'd say stuck for a little bit. We are,
It felt stuck.
yeah, but I think what we're going to talk about tonight stems from what we decided to do about it and not just sit there and quit or just be like, what was me? Or blame other people for not being where we necessarily want to be. So, talking about the word grit, I don't think I knew really what grit was until doing this business, if I'm being honest. I until now, I do think I have a lot more grit doing this business. And that's what I appreciate about this opportunity is that it exposes you and that it really makes you think about, okay, am I going to do this or not? Like, is this worth it or not? And I'm typically the kind of person who's like, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. I'm just going to be comfortable. When things get hard, I kind of like bow out, tap out. I'm like, it's not worth it. What was I thinking anyway? And to be perfectly honest, that's kind of the point where I had gotten. a few months ago, like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of coast. We're good. We're making a decent paycheck. It's fine. But I realized and learned just through conversations with different people, definitely conversations through Christina, conversations that Luther and I have had with each other and have had to get real about what are we doing this for and what is the potential here. The potential is limitless and we are sitting on a golden opportunity. And it really took Luther like just telling me, and sometimes we had some disagreements like, oh babe, this isn't worth it. Like it's taking too much of my mental space, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm not quitting. Maybe I'll just work the business and you can just sit over there. And then I was like,
I'm a little sassy, y'all. I don't know if y'all know that about me. I could be a little sassy.
But then I was like, no, like that's not this, like we have to do this together. It's so much more fun that way. And again, like I said, there's too much potential we're just sitting on for us to not lean in. And so the first thing we leaned into was our relationship with the Lord and making sure we were prioritizing spending time with him and getting clarity and guidance on him on what this is supposed to be and how we're supposed to honor him through this opportunity.
And can I speak to that just real quick?
Yeah.
And it's funny, y'all, when y'all prioritize that, like, and it might be something simple as, okay, Lord, just show me where you want us to be. And every time we do that, he opens up a door or he opens up a conversation or he points to somebody or somebody sends us a testimony where they're like, OMG, I've had this win this week or I've had this win. It's like, okay, yes, this is where we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't really know if I've talked about grit, but I'm just kind of going off here. But as far as just having staying power, I think I heard Christina say that somewhere, and I thought that was really powerful, and that stuck with me because, things like this business, things in life, just anything, when it gets hard, it's easy to just turn it off, quit. You don't want to keep doing the things consistently. But having staying power is remembering, like, what are you doing this for? Who are you trying to serve? How can this provide that freedom that you want? And we had to really get to the nitty gritty of what we wanted. And gosh, I just lost my train of thought. But oh, being consistent. And we're learning a lot now because we've sought feedback and we're just trying to figure out, okay, how to move forward. Doing the things consistently, but doing the right things consistently are different. And I think where I was starting to get burned out was I was not doing the right things. So it was just taking up all of my mental energy. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so now, since we've learned how to do the right things consistently and do sometimes the scary things and just push through the nose, through the ghosting, like it's worth it. And we are kind of in a season right now where we're seeing that fruit, even though it's not happening super fast like we, sometimes dream of or want, but it's growing us in the process, not just in our business, but in life in general. So.
100%. It's this business is so much more about who you are becoming and who you are serving than it is about what rank you are at, right? The rank doesn't matter if you are not the person that it takes to serve the people that you're trying to serve. Doesn't matter. And we had to learn that very early on, right? It's the compound effect, right? The things that you do consistently stack up slowly, and it's typically invisible, but those are the things that allow you to really serve the people. It's getting the right systems in place, it's getting the right messaging in place, and truly what it boils down to is getting the right heart in place. That's really what it boils down to, is approaching this business with the right heart, right? And so with that, I want to move into our next thing, which is the value of attention. So Joya just talked a lot about doing a lot of things, but not doing the right things, right? So let's talk about the value of attention. Attention. We've heard it said a lot of times, and this is a Dan Sullivan idea, but we've heard it said a lot of times that time is our most valuable asset. And I think all of us on this call are doing this business to create more time freedom, to create more margin, right? To create all of those things. But time isn't your most limited resource or your most valuable resource. Attention is. And a lot of times like Joey just said, we can spend time doing things, but if we aren't if we aren't putting the right attention on those things, it's wasted energy. And one thing that I've learned, right, because I've built currently in my life, again, total transparency, I have a lot of freedom, quote unquote freedom in my life. I have a lot of let's call it flexibility in my life. I'm not gonna call it freedom yet. I'm building towards freedom. Freedom has to be earned, but I have a lot of flexibility in my life right now. I have a fully remote job. We have our business. I work from home. I get to be with my family, right? I'm starting to build that life and be able to sense that life that I desire. And one of the things that I'm learning is, hey, you have time, bro. What are you doing with it? Right? A lot of times we have time, but if you let's say I got 15 minutes, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, I got a free 15 minutes. And I know y'all know the hustle and bustle of parenting, the hustle and bustle of work. It's like, oh, I got a free 15 minutes. Let me just scroll reels. Nope, not effective. Let me just take a I just want to take like a 30-minute, like chill pill. Where are you trying to go? What do you want to do? Right? If your goal is to build freedom, that requires discipline. That requires that requires diligence, right? Divided attention puts you in the fast lane of mediocrity.
Mm, that's deep.
Divided attention puts you in the fast lane of mediocrity. And so when you're working your business, work your business. Stay off the reels. Stay off the post. Don't stop falling into the comparison trap. When it's time to work your business, it's time to do those reach outs. Do the reach outs.
We're
Do
talking
the reach outs. And I'm
we're
talking
talking
to
to
me right now,
ourselves here too.
right?
We are not perfect at this. We are still learning.
Yes.
But I think we realized doing this and having like working on things like time blocking and just
Mm-hmm.
being intentional with the time that you have. And again, still something that we are working on, but we would have never even known what time blocking was, or just having more discipline. Like all of this stuff is impacting our life, like not just our business, but our life. We wouldn't even know to bring attention to those things if it were not for this opportunity, if it were
Fact.
not for us realizing like, okay, we have to do this. This opportunity is something that has been placed in our lap, and not quitting when it got hard. So
100%. So my challenge to all of us tonight is for us to audit our attention. We must audit our attention, and we need to start paying attention to what we are feeding ourselves. Are you feeding yourself comparison by instead of reaching out, you're just scrolling reels, or you're trying to dream about the life that somebody else has, and oh, I wish I had that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But you are, or you become what you consistently pay attention to. You become what you consistently pay attention to. And so ask yourself, if I have the time, where is my attention? We got to audit that. And so all of that leads to, and we've said it, we've talked about it a little bit already. It is humility and feedback, right? When you feel like you are stuck, when you feel like you aren't going anywhere, you have one or two responses to make. Okay? One or two. I don't know if y'all can feel this. Like this is, I'm fire, this is ice. Okay. So we have one or two decisions that we can make. We can say, okay, yeah, I'm good where I'm at. Or we can say, what the heck am I missing? And who knows it? And let me go get it. Let me go figure it out. So Joy's going to talk to us a little bit about humility and feedback.
if I'm being honest, feedback is kind of scary because it's like, oh, somebody's going to look at what I'm doing and tell me something that I could do better, or something that I used to think really before realizing what feedback really is. It's just a way to get better, a way to improve upon the things that you need to do to move forward. I thought about it as like, oh, they're going to just tear me down and tell me what I'm doing wrong, and then I'm going to get discouraged. I think back to I went to UGA, go Dogs. I was a music major. I played clarinet. I had a very tough clarinet professor.
Oh, he was the toughest.
And honestly, he taught me so much. It was one of those people. I hated going to my lessons. My stomach would like churn every time. But the times that like I was not looking forward to it were the times I wasn't prepared and I knew I was going to get feedback that I did not want because I didn't prepare. I did not practice and do what he told me to do the last time. And so it's funny, I just randomly thought of that when we were talking about doing this call tonight. And that just translates so well into life and into this business. It's like if you just do the things you're supposed to do, divide your attention appropriately, like we talked about before, don't get distracted, but also seek feedback, even when you think you are like, you got it going on, when everything is going great. I know for me, like when I felt like I sounded so good in the lesson, and then he was like, actually, no. And that was really hard because I thought I was doing the right things, but I wasn't focused on the right parts of my music. Like I was doing the parts that felt good and that felt easy. And I wasn't doing the parts that were uncomfortable. I wasn't practicing the parts that were uncomfortable.
And that's where the growth is, right? Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. So if you're not willing to attack the things that you're not good at, you're always going to not be good at them, right? And so the ceiling of your success is directly tied to your willingness to receive correction.
Mm-hmm.
The ceiling of your success is directly tied to your willingness to receive correction. And I want y'all to know, like, that one of the things that I'm learning as we spend this time with Christina, right? Like she'll be talking through something, and the other day she said this. Now, mind you, Diamond, right? She said, "Oh, that's the next system I got to build. I don't really have that fleshed out yet. You know, I need to make a note to myself that that's the next system I need to build." Now I'm like, again, you can have 1, 2 responses. What you mean a system that you need to build, girl? You got to figure it out. But guess what? Her willingness to say I don't have that figured out is why she's making the kind of money that she's making. It's why Britney's making the kind of money that they're making. Because at every turn, they're looking and saying, okay, what part of this can I improve so that I can serve people better?
There are a lot of y'all on this team making some real good money because this team is amazing. So whatever y'all are doing, clearly you're taking feedback and you're running with it, which is awesome.
Got to keep running with it, right? And so we have to be willing to receive correction so that we can improve and go and receive correction from people that's walking the walk that you desire to walk, right? If you surrounded yourself with a bunch of people who were like, oh my gosh, girl, you got it going on, find you some new friends that can push you legitimately, right? Like if the people around you think that you got it all figured out, you need to find some people that got it more figured out than you got it figured out, so that you can go, okay, ooh, let me figure out what y'all doing, right? So that's why, like, I already knew when we reached out to Christina that like we was gonna get 8 up, and I said, well, it's time to get 8. It just is what it is, right? Like, but here's the deal: if right, your desire is to live a life of freedom, if your desire is to build a diamond business, guess what? You got to go find diamond wisdom, right? And be willing to receive diamond feedback. Christina I know y'all have heard this before, but Christina would send, when we wish we had did this the other day, she would record her phone calls and send them to Brittany and let Brittany pick them apart. You know how vulnerable you got to be to do that?
We heard that on a podcast a long time ago. Hopefully that's accurate.
You have to be willing to say, hey, I'm not sure. I texted Christina the other day. I'm not sure that I've navigated this situation well. Can you tell me what you would say? And she responded with, what do you think you should say? And I'm like, oh, crap. Let me try to figure it out. Then let me send her my jacked up message. So she can say, don't do that, do that, don't do that, do that, do that. Got it. Appreciate it. Right? And guess what? You do that and people respond. Imagine that. Right? But if I want to build my business like a diamond, I have to, John Maxwell says it the best. He said, everybody wants to have what I have, but nobody wants to do what I did to have what I have. Right? So in order to get what they got, you got to do what they did. You got to go do the do. You know what I'm saying? Is that Mountain Dew? Do the do? I don't know. Anyway, squirrel. But with that, I want to move to this idea. It's come up a few times tonight, this idea of freedom. Okay. And this idea of freedom. And I've really, really been reflecting on the idea and the mindset of freedom because I believe that most people think that freedom is no boundaries. A lot of people believe that freedom means no boundaries. When we say, "Oh, I want time freedom, and I want financial freedom, and I want I want attention freedom," like whatever the freedom may be. A lot of people think that means no boundaries, but freedom is not the absence of boundaries. Freedom is the ability to dictate your boundaries. You still have to have boundaries because freedom requires discipline, diligence, and daily decision making in the right direction.
Again, all things that we are currently learning. This is not us saying we have this all figured out.
Heck no. Heck no.
Nowhere
But
close.
freedom comes at a cost, y'all. Freedom comes at a cost. If you make excuses today, it's going to make today easier. But if you take disciplined actions today, it's going to make tomorrow easier. So I can either make excuses and have an easier today, or I can be disciplined and diligent and have an easier tomorrow on a path to freedom. True freedom, where I have the option and the ability to dictate the boundaries. Right? But it's not just chaos. We have to be willing to sit in it. It goes all the way back to grit. It goes all the way back to being in the valley and being willing to become who we are trying to become so that we can sustain the businesses that we desire to build. Right? And again, it's easy for us to look out and to see the diamonds of the world and the emeralds of the world and the sapphires of the world and go, "Oh my gosh, like I want that," right? But we must build the house before we can enjoy its comforts, y'all. You got to build a house before you can sit in the living room and chill in front of the TV and sit in front of the fireplace, right? Like if you don't build a house, there's no fireplace, there's no couch, there's no pool. You can't enjoy the amenities if you aren't willing to build a house. Right? And so here's the deal. You can't yearn for what you're not willing to earn.
That came to him when he was cutting the grass.
That did come to me when I was cutting the grass today.
Thought it was good.
You don't yearn for what you're not willing to earn. Right? And again, we get into this comparison trap on Facebook where we say, "Oh my gosh, right? Oh, this person has this, and oh, this person has this, and oh, I want that. I want that 40 acres, and I want a farm with animals and all this stuff." Like, yeah, you can yearn for all of that stuff. But what are you going to do to go get it? You got to be willing to earn it, which means you got to be willing to have grit. When the times get hard, you got to be willing to stay in it. When you done sent out 20 carts and ain't nobody signed up this month, by the way.
Not 20.
Not 20. That was a slight exaggeration. But when you done sent out a bunch of carts and ain't nobody signed up, you got to go, okay. You got to be willing to go, okay, what am I doing wrong? How do I need to follow up? Hey, what does this messaging need to be? Like, you have to be willing to sit in it, figure out who you need to become so you can earn the comforts that you desire later on in life. Don't yearn for what you're not willing to earn.
I think a lot of what we've learned really in that season of where I was really struggling, it's just, he said something about building a house, and we realized, okay, what does our household look like? Like, are we organized at home? Are we prioritizing the right things? Because all the stuff that we've talked about tonight, like, you can apply it to your business, but if it's not being applied, a lot of it isn't being applied to our home and to our life, it really is not going to translate. And honestly, if it does translate in business, it doesn't seem worth it because it's not like,
Balance.
yeah, there's no balance there. So we're just learning so much about like, and not saying you need to have balance. Like that's a hard thing to attain. But
You can
just
be in rhythm though. You
yeah,
can be in rhythm.
yeah. So just prioritization, intentionality, making sure you're doing the right things with your time, and all of that creates boundaries to lead to that freedom. So
It's like being on an open freeway, y'all. I heard somebody say this one time. It's like being you driving down the freeway. There are lanes on the freeway for a reason, right? We're all moving in the same direction. But if there were no lanes, it would be absolute chaos.
mhm.
The boundaries are there so that we can get where we're going quickly and safely.
Hmm.
That's why the lanes are there. Now, what happens when people don't pay attention to them? Crap hits the fan, right? There are accidents. And so you're building this, you're on this road, this path to freedom, to impact, to kingdom change, to kingdom, to financial freedom, to location freedom, to all of these things. You're on this road, but that road requires you to be in your lane, doing the things that you need to do to get where you need to go safely and quickly.
Mhm.
Stay in the lane. Stay in the lane. You're called to be a leader, y'all. And so if you're going to build something meaningful, it's going to take obedience and consistency. Obedience and consistency. So that again, this is all stuff that is coming out of this like this weird season. I say weird. Like we've been in a season of testing in our business. Okay. And it's still going well, right? Like, don't get it twisted. It's still going well. Every day that we show up, it's going well. But if you desire to go to the next level, there has to be a switch flip that says, okay, I am sick of this. What wisdom do I need to gain to go get the next level? Because clearly what I'm doing at this level is only going to keep me at this level. So if I make it to Ruby, which we did together, if I'm at Ruby and it's like, okay, cool, we got the Ruby, but I keep doing Ruby work, guess what? I'm going to keep getting Ruby results. Right? And again, if you're good with that, I mean, that's cool. But if you want diamond work, you got to go get diamond wisdom. And y'all have two of the most phenomenal, and several others on this call, but y'all have some of the most phenomenal wisdom on this team. Find the people that are doing what you desire to do. And here's the deal. If you set that goal, right, go talk to a Ruby. Go talk to a Ruby, right? If you a Ruby, go talk to an Emerald. Okay? If you're an Emerald, go talk to a Diamond. If you're a Gold, go talk to a Diamond, right? But go talk to the people that are right. Sometimes, and we hear this all the time. It's like you're the most relatable earlier in your business, right? So go talk to the people that are more relatable to you. Yes, go seek the diamond wisdom, right? But go figure out if you're a gold, go figure out what those rubies are doing to get the ruby, right? And go figure out what that workload looks like. And then go get that, but then keep leveling up. Be willing to level up. So that's what we have tonight. I know Christina wanted us to field any questions. And
I
we
have a
are open
question.
book. Go
I
ahead.
have a question. I think it's so important when you are building this and when you're being challenged. And I know you guys have had to sit through multiple calls with me lately. So I know that you're probably feeling challenged. I think it's always so important to articulate the vision for where you're going. So I would just love for our team to hear what's at the end of the road here for you guys. You're building this because it's worth the pain, the discomfort, I'm sure the intense marital conversations, it's worth all of this because when we hit this point in the journey, kind of like there's no final destination because as soon as you go diamond, it's like, man, that should have been harder than it was. Let's do it again. But when you get there, like the pinnacle of what you think you're building this for, why is it going to be worth it? What's life going to look like for you guys?
Oh my gosh. You're gonna make me cry.
If you
Joya
don't,
knows
Brittany says if you don't cry, it don't count. So,
y'all, I and Joya knows this. We're in this season right now where our baby girl is 4. She's finishing up preschool. We're getting ready to go to kindergarten. And y'all, I'm having such a hard time envisioning a life where my baby girl is away from me for 8 hours a day. I'm having a really, really hard time. And that's part of it, but like the other part of it is me feeling like I don't have another option. Okay. So that is really tough on me. And so where we are going again is a life where one, this business and this opportunity we view as a ministry. And so to look around for us and see the lives of our friends and people that we don't even know yet, their lives changed by this business, and for them to have the option and for us to have a community of people of faith who can come together and strengthen each other in their faith and edify one another through the struggle and all of these things, and for us to build a community of people that have time freedom, true freedom, that have impact on the kingdom, that have uh that have impact in their families. For me, it's dads being able to come home and not feeling like they have to bear the grind of a 12 to 16-hour day, right? Like, or in my case, for me to be at a place where like I don't feel like I have to go out and have two, three, four jobs just to still be struggling every day with the grocery bill. Like I this the life that like and don't get me wrong, like I'm so thankful for all the things that God has blessed us with to this point. But I tell Julia this all the time, and she has told me this. Like, I know he has called me to something greater, and there's nothing that I want more than to be living in the will and the purpose that he has given me. And I know I'm not there yet. I know I'm not there yet. And so my desire is to get where he has me going so that I can have the impact that he desires for me to have in the lives of other people.
mm.
And so I could talk about that for days, to be honest. But it's a life where again we get to dictate the boundaries, where if we want to send our baby to private school, we can do that. If we want to do a homeschool cohort, we can do that. But ultimately, to pour into the lives of others and be able to have kingdom impact, help people step into their faith, and step into who God has purposed them to be.
And two, showing our kids that you
This
can
is
build,
possible.
yeah, you can
Yes.
build something on your own, but also pour into other people so beautifully. And it doesn't have to be the conventional way. And I mean, everything Luther said, obviously, but for me, it's like no more of those moments where we think about what we want to do or like the kind of life we want to have. And we're like, we can't do that right now. We don't have the money right now. Like, just, we just want to
Mm-hmm.
do it. um, I used to be a full-time teacher. I have not been for 4 years. I work part-time, but yeah, I don't ever want to go back to the classroom ever, ever, ever.
I want
So,
to show. I'm gonna try to show y'all this picture, but this meant a lot. This picture means a lot to me. Okay, I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is my daughter, and she has a Plexus store.
Oh,
Okay, because she sees mommy and daddy working their business and building a life and doing these things. And I grew up in a family that's really, really, really not great with money, right? And we live paycheck to paycheck, and my mom made sacrifice after sacrifice after sacrifice to give us the life, and my dad too, to give us the life that we had. And I want to be able to provide a life for my children where they understand, hey, I can go out and be an entrepreneur and I can go and do all of these big things because my dad and my mom showed me the way. So, long answer to that question, but
I love it. I think it's so important to keep that front and center. You'll take a lot of beatings as long as you know it's going to be worth it. And I think when people say all the time, like, Christina, what's the number one tip of advice? Like, don't expect it to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. We're just supposed to get better. And I love what you said as far as if something feels hard, instead of allowing that to shut you down, discourage you, it only feels discouraging because we also have the thought it shouldn't be this hard. If we just expect it's going to be hard, it's kind of like childbirth. Like, it doesn't shut you down that it's hard. You just knew it was going to be hard. And so you endure, right? When you said, who does know this? I don't know this. Who does? And how do I go get what they know? How do I go learn what they've learned? That is the key to the next rank. That's the key to the next rank after that. If you would just stop and think, Luther, I loved what you said. Like, okay, I'm Ruby. What does the senior Ruby know that I don't know? And how do I learn it? When you think like that, your brain looks for solutions. It doesn't look for problems. All of a sudden it says, okay, they have this going on that I don't have. Okay, how can I learn that? It might be through a coaching session with an upline. It might be I need to go invest in my business. It might be I call a sideline and we trade something for something. Like, hey, I'll help you if you can help me. But you find solutions. And that is one of the things that I see from the people who progress through the ranks at various teams across the company is that eagerness to learn and that willingness to be humble enough to ask. And I just respect so much. Like I said, every time I see you guys, you're always like, "Hey, quick question," and it never is a quick question. And I also love that because the converse. I mean, we challenge each other because you don't just say, "Okay," like you'll challenge back. But it's just that staying prepared with what you need to learn or what you need to ask to figure out what you need to learn. All right, Britt. I know. Listen, there's one thing I know for sure. She just texted and said, I have a question. Shocker. I knew she was gonna, and I was gonna call on her anyway. So, Britt, where are you at?
Right here. All right. So my question is, out of all of the companies that you could have joined, all the opportunities that you could have pursued, why did you choose Plexus? What makes Plexus special to you?
That's funny you ask because when I left teaching full time, we were wondering like, we're gonna need another thing to do. We're gonna need another way to bring in some income. And I was not personally thinking network marketing or anything like that. He was always he's open to anything. Like he's a salesman's dream. Just come up to Luther and ask him and he'll buy it. But
I won't buy it.
or he'll do
I'll
it.
talk to him though.
You'll talk
And then
to
I
him.
try to sell him Plexus. But
But we actually had tried a couple of other opportunities, trying the products, sharing them, seeing where it would take us, and it just felt icky and weird. I was like, see, this is not the thing. We're not doing this. But with Plexus, first of all, we took the products and loved them. And so naturally we started sharing the products. But then we were like, wait a minute.
let's back up.
Oh.
She straight up told me,
Oh, yeah.
I'll take them, but I ain't never selling them.
I did say that.
She did.
But he started taking them first. We're such a rare couple. He started everything before I did. But we started the whole journey, realized we could make really good income just by telling people about the products. We didn't do anything at first. And we weren't in the team page for our team. We weren't going to events. We were just talking and building a business. We were like, okay, this doesn't feel as weird. It feels more natural. So that is one reason we were like, okay, this is the thing. It felt just very natural to share something that worked, something that helped us feel better and obviously was going to help other people. But I think the biggest turning point for us was when we went to convention in 2023. I believe it was 2023.
Yep.
And saw that these people, this community, this opportunity, the leadership of this company, like, is legit. I really didn't believe until we went to convention and saw that these people are just normal people who did something extraordinary and they decided to stick with it, and they knew that they had an opportunity on their hands and they changed their lives. And I think Luther can probably speak a little bit to some personal interactions that we had that solidified the fact that Plexus is where we need it to be. But I would say convention was a turning point for us, just being in an environment like that. And we love learning. I love conventions, conferences. When I was a teacher, I love going to those kinds of things. And so doing it for a company, like a network marketing company, I was a little like, what's this going to be like? But it was like the best thing ever. So I don't know if you got anything to say about.
Yeah, I mean, yes, all yes, and to all of that. Really, I started feeling better within a month and a half of taking the products. Like she said, we started kind of sharing organically, and even then, like it was very much like we went fast start gold in the first 3 months. I saw the paycheck, and it was paycheck over people in the beginning, which was a massive mistake. And then we really started to learn and understand what the culture of this company is, which is what drew us to convention, and then to see normal everyday people, right? Like you hear these network marketing horror stories of the upper echelon of the company, and they have their separate thing, and they're not out amongst the people. They have their own entourage and like all this stuff. Like we've heard all of these horror stories of different network marketing opportunities. And we got there, and golly, everyone was so kind, and we in complete transparency, we were at a place in our life where we were really searching for a community of like-minded people who like love each other. And I mean, we have a great church family, but we were looking for community outside of that. And that wasn't permeating every aspect of our lives. And then like Plexus began to permeate every aspect of our lives. And we started to find, friends from all over the country, and people that are willing to open up their lives and open up their hearts and open up their homes and like all of these things. And I was like, oh my gosh, what place where you can go and be in business for yourself, but not by yourself, and with people that love you and love others really well. I don't know if y'all could tell, like I'm a high collaboration guy. Like I'm a super yellow in my color code. I love people, I love fun. And like play like hearing men like Alec and Gene and hearing their story and things like if you're blessed, be a blessing, like that spoke to me. And I heard John Maxwell and Valerie Burton at my first convention and got to hear like the heart of this company, like all of those things just like Plexus is truly special. I hear people complain about their network marketing companies all the time. But this place is just different. And so to answer your question, Brittany, like it was the people. It was the people and the opportunity to really have a kingdom impact. I'm really passionate about people living in their best self. And the products allow people to do that, and the opportunity allow people to do that. So, um, that's a big part of that. Big part of our Y plexus. I
Oh,
like this
I
part.
love that. I love that. My question is, why the heck not? I mean,
Facts.
why the
Yeah.
heck not? All
But
right, Britt, anything? Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
I was
Luther.
gonna say you said something earlier about what the things we tell ourselves, and I just it this continues to come back to me, so I just wanted to say it. All disappointment is mismanagement of expectations. So if you set the right expectations, you prevent yourself from a space of despair, right? And so all disappointment is mismanagement of expectations. So, when you're working in your business and you're getting in that hard season, right? Like we have to expect this to not be easy. Christina had said that earlier. Like expect this to not be easy, but also expect this to be worth it in the end.
1,000%. And also expect that it's figure outable. Like
Yep.
there's nothing new under the sun. You're not going to be the one who is stumped for all time, right? It's going to
Yep.
be all right. There is a solution somewhere. Somebody knows it.
Mhm.
Let's go learn it.
Go get
So,
it.
There's your brain's going to do something totally different if you say somebody somewhere knows this and I have the ability to go find it versus somebody somewhere knows this and somebody ought to let me know. Like just totally different attitude, totally different attitude. So,
That's the difference between being hungry and wanting something to eat,
mm, say it again.
right? If you're hungry, you're gonna go figure it out.
Mm,
You have to ask yourself if you're hungry. Some people just want something to eat. They want somebody to hand them something.
mhm.
That's not what this is.
Show ain't.
I be hungry. HON.
Hungry. Hungry. Well, thank you guys for taking the time out to pour into our team. I know this is going to be a fan favorite, so I will go get it uploaded. Wishing you guys tons and tons of success in the future. I have no doubt that we will be watching your Diamond Doc. So, love you guys. Proud of y'all. See you
Appreciate it.
guys
Thanks
soon.
for the opportunity.
For sure. Yeah. See y'all later.